In the last days of summer and the first days of autumn, the rainforest awakens into a magical world. The waterfalls flow heavy, the last sun paints the mountain tops, and the forests come alive at night.
It's a glow-in-the-dark mushroom.
The mornings bring mist that binds with sunbeams and fills the valley with its soft breath. The last of summer's mangoes need harvesting, so we preserve and cook and snack on these gifts. Autumn is the time of in-betweens in the rainforest. It's not summer or winter, it's not the dry season or the wet season, and everything seems to celebrate in this state of play. The shadows stretch deep into the forest. The eucalyptus oil creates a vapor that lights up blue when the sunlight hits it, so the mountains turn bright and blue and hazy. The whipbirds sing from both sides of the valley. They are a rainforest bird who completes each other's song. One bird calls and the other answers. Immersed in the forest, you're surrounded by their song. Their voices echo under the canopy. The fruit trees feel like they're singing as well. This is the time of year that the orchards thrive the most. Jackfruit, starfruit, persimmon, ure plums, macadamias, and the very last of the mangoes. This is the time of abundance. It's funny, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with fairies and make-believe worlds, with storybooks full of waterfalls and wings and mushrooms and magic. And I remember trying to force myself to grow up and move away from these make-believe worlds. But now I look around to the dragonfly's wings or the tendrils of a leaf, and I see that nothing about a fairy is make-believe. I think that our childhood connection to this fairy realm is actually a connection to nature. A way for us to humanize and understand the complexities of this grand and beautiful world. To imagine ourselves small, standing on a leaf with butterflies flying all above, and through this perspective we could appreciate the intricacies of nature. So I'm still proud to be in my fairy phase and still look at each rock, leaf or toadstool with awe and see the grandeur of it all.
So I was just putting the goats to bed and Paisley was standing on this log and I noticed it was glowing and it had glow-in-the-dark mushrooms on it. And I'd normally never pick them because I want to leave them obviously to just be in nature, but Paisley accidentally knocked it off as she was getting off the log. So I'm looking at it close up and this is like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my whole life. It's a glow-in-the-dark mushroom. I can't believe my eyes.
So I like to always look at the world with these eyes of wonder. Like a child, I see the world around me as a fairy tale. I'm pretty spoilt though, coming from a valley where everything truly belongs in a fairy world, where the mornings bring this veil of mist that sets the mountains alight, where the kookaburras sing above and the sunbeams weave through the tree trunks.
So I got this basket the other day from a garage sale and it's so cute. It's an old fishing creel, I think. So it's to store fishing things in, I guess. But I'm going to change it. I want to make it into a fruit picking basket, like a backpack basket, so that I can pick lots of mangoes because all my baskets are too small. We have so many mangoes this year. So I'm going to clean it up and see if I can get it working as a backpack. This is just a natural eucalyptus oil and I think that's going to help to just get some of the dust out and clean it all up. It's got this old leather strap which is kind of a cross-body strap, I guess, or over the shoulder, and it's got Brett engraved in it. So someone named Brett must have owned this before I did. But I'm going to take it out and I'm going to try to turn it into kind of like more of a backpack strap. But it's pretty old. There's been a hornet's nest in here at some stage, but not now. I love restoring old things like this because you get so many stories along the way. You wonder who Brett was with his fishing creel. Hey Clover. So what I'm realizing is that this is actually a belt, and I think that someone's just used it to extend the strap. It was also attached to this, which I think is another belt. This one's fake leather and it's coming apart and it's pretty gross. So I think I'm just gonna ignore that one and work with this one because it's really beautiful, and maybe try to find another belt for the second strap. Unless I should be keeping this as a belt because it'd be quite cute. Oh, it doesn't fit. So I think maybe it's a kid's belt. Well, that makes my decision for me. I'm going to keep it as a strap, and maybe I have another kid's belt hidden away that I found in an op shop, and I'll go try find that, and that could be the second strap. So I can't find another belt for this project, so I'm gonna have to go to an op shop and buy one. So that's my next step. So just as I was about to give up on finding a belt and I was going to search every op shop for the perfect belt, I found this in my cupboard, which is a picnic rug holder strap thing, but I think it's gonna be perfect for the job. So I'm very excited. I'm just gonna put it through, there's already holes here. So I think if it can just kind of form some straps, then I can go pick as many mangoes as I want. All right, time to test it out. I'm very excited. Ooh, I think it's working. Oh, I can pick so much fruit in this.
It's the very end of mango season, so over the next few days I'm picking the final harvest. I'm sad to reach the end of my very favourite season and the end of having fresh mangoes for breakfast every single morning. But autumn is the next best season, with more fruit than any other time of year. And I've been preserving for the past month, so I have frozen mangoes for smoothies, dried mangoes, and later I'm going to make a lacto-fermented mango salsa. So the flavours of the season will continue to last onwards, hopefully for months to come. Each sheep has a different favourite fruit throughout the year. Aphrodite, the head of the flock, her favourite is kiwi fruit. Black Sapote, despite being named after a black sapote, just loves all fruit. His mama was mulberry, who got her name by sneaking out of every single paddock to find a mulberry tree and having stained purple wool throughout the spring. Poet loves mangoes and Cherub loves oranges. These sheep are the most spoilt sheep on the entire planet.
No, not too far. Today I'm making a lacto-fermented salsa. I'm making it mostly from mangoes because I have so many mangoes that I don't know what to do with. And then I'm also going to add red onion and some coriander, and I'm going to put it in salt and leave it to ferment for I think 5 days, and then I think it can be stored in the fridge for a while, maybe even a few months. So I'm pretty excited. Later on I'm going to need to know the weight of all of the stuff that I'm fermenting because I'm going to need to do 2% salt to that. So I'm just weighing the bowl now. That's a bit heavy. So that I know its weight. Okay, so 500, 700, 800 grams. And then this is a 50 gram. So 850 grams is how much the bowl weighs. I need to remember that. This mango is so big, it's bigger than my face. It's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna get lots of mango from that, and this one. I'm making this ferment as a desperate way to try to use up some of these mangoes because I have so many mangoes and they're all ripening at once. But this bowl, it's almost completely full, and this is just 2 big mangoes and 1 little mango. That already filled this bowl. These mangoes are massive, so they're not just that I have thousands of them, it's also that they're so big that there's a lot of mango in there. So I need to think of different ways to preserve them, not just this. Now I'm going to re-weigh it, so I've got what the container weighed there, and then I'm going to put next to it 1 kilo, 1.5, then I only have pound measurements, so 1.5 and 1 pound. Okay, maybe I need to minus some off here. That's perfect. From my calculations, it's almost exactly 2 kilos. A lot of food. So if it's 20% of 2 kilos, that's about 40 grams. So of preserving salts, which I'll put in. And I also want it to be kind of covered with water or its own brine. Apparently 40 grams of salt is 2.3 tablespoons. Oh! You're supposed to be really precise. You're not supposed to accidentally pour way too much in. Okay, not that much went in. I'm gonna weigh it down now with these weights, but I also don't think I have enough water content, so I'm gonna need to add a little bit of water. Hello, Maggie. Are you coming? Maggie thinks there's mangoes in here, so she's looking everywhere, but she can't find any. Are you gonna come with us?
We have lots of different mango varieties on the farm, which is why our season is so spread out. The Bowens ripen much earlier in the season, but now we have Namdokmais, Valencias, and strawberry mangoes or sensations. They hold on until the very end of the season. Most have already started falling, but today I'm collecting the very last of them.
This is it. This is the banana mango. I've been so excited about this ripening. This is a really rare variety of mango that is called a banana mango, and it's super long and apparently really sweet and apparently got lots of flavor, and I've been so excited to try this. This tree has never fruited, I don't think, in my life, and it finally fruited, and it only had one mango on the whole tree, so I'm excited to see. I'm gonna try to open it like a banana. I know it's a mango, but it's just really exciting that it's also banana-ish. Okay. Oh my god. That is so good. That's better than a Bowen. Wow. Oh, it's so sweet. But some mangoes I think are too sweet, but this is perfect. Oh, it's delicious. It's everything I hoped and dreamed of. Yay! Banana mangoes. Hopefully this tree fruits more next year.